I had studied Arabic in the past, in Yemen and Syria, but finished several years ago, and was working as a journalist focusing on American wrongdoings in the Middle East, investigating my government's actions in Iraq and Palestine and other countries. I've never had any contact with U.S. intelligence services in Iraq or in America. I am a journalist, and my purpose in my work is to expose and investigate wrongdoings of my government, especially in the Middle East.
The judge then reads the specific charges that Shane is accused of and asks him to write down his own defence, his take on events that happened, whether he thinks he is guilty or not. Shane asks the judge whether he can speak to his lawyer first, but the judge explains that, just like elsewhere in the world, the court procedure doesn't allow for that. The issue of visitation was the big issue before the trial began, as lawyer Masood Shafi'i went to the international press and said he had not been able to see his clients the day before trial began.
Despite my repeated requests to see my clients, I was not allowed to do so.
We also addressed the issue to Judge Salavati as to why Shafi'i had not seen the clients the day of the trial. We were told that a request of such short notice on the day of trial at the courtroom is not normal protocol, and that visits should be made at the prison in privacy. Back in court, Shane asks the judge several other questions about his statement, what he can write, whether it should be a summary or fully written. The judge tells Shane to take as much time as he needs and write whatever he wants. It is the start of a painstakingly lengthy process. Shane writes in English, and then the interpreter writes the translation in Farsi underneath. Then Sean reads the English, and the interpreter reads the Farsi. The papers are then handed into court. The whole process from start to finish is repeated for Joshua.
I came to the Middle East about 1 week before I was arrested in Iran, and I had, after I finished getting my bachelor's degree in UC Berkeley, 2004, I've been an educator. I was an educator in Oakland in 2005. I moved to Oregon. I was an educator in the environment.
Halfway through, the defence lawyer asks that the process of writing be shortened, but the judge refuses, saying given the language barrier and the circumstances, he doesn't want the defendants to feel that any right has been taken away from them. They should be able to write as much as they want in their own words, and that it should be translated in front of both defence and prosecution so there is no misunderstanding and misinterpretations. When the long process for both had been finished, the prosecution, the defence lawyers and the defendants all signed each page of their statements.
سوالها چون باید ترجمه میشد به وسیله مترجم متهما یادداشت برداری میکردند و بعد مثل مترجم پاسخها برای دادگاه قرائت میشد. یک کمی این باعث شد که وقت زیادی گرفته بشه.
It was then the turn of the defence lawyer who gave his opening statement in the form of a written report. He also presented Sarah Shaw's statement that she had handed in to the Swiss embassy in the US. The statement was the Farsi translation of the original, and there was some questioning over obtaining the original English declaration. By this time, almost 4 hours had passed. The judge explained there were still many questions to be asked and evidence to be presented, but given the lengthiness of the process and the fact that the courts deemed the presence of Sarah Shaw necessary, the session would end.
علیرغم احضار قانونی نامورده و ارتباط اتهام وی با دیگر متهمین و اینکه به استناد ماده 181 قانون آیین دادرسی کیفری دادگاه حضور متهمه را لازم می‌داند، لذا با توجه به پایان وقت دادگاه ختم جلسه را اعلام می‌نمایم. و السلام علیکم و رحمت الله و برکاته.
Fatal and Bowers both asked several questions about whether this will be the last court hearing and when the next will be, and whether they will be able to see their lawyer. The judge answered that this will not be the last session, the next hearing's date is unknown, and that they will be able to see their lawyer at the prison in private.